Was that a bit of paper in your door bin?
Ow, I've just burnt the hell out of my mouth.
Is it still really hot?
It's still exceptionally hot. This flask is very well insulated.
Fucking NASA. Like, do you ever look at buildings and go, God, imagine if I had an office in there?
Yeah, I have done that.
There's quite a few
It's
buildings.
one of those top rooms which has like a lighthouse-style bay window. And I think, well, what an inspirational space.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I slap myself and go, what did you just say? Inspirational space? Get out.
Johnny Smith's inspirational spaces.
Ugh.
But in the same way that I sometimes look at sort of quite large but interesting buildings and go, that's where my office would be. That's where Sniff Petrol Industries would be. Which I kind of regret, you know, when if you have to register a company.
Yeah.
And it's just usually the name of your company, piss flap.
Oh, well, yeah.
Limited.
I'm thinking of changing the name of my company.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
To what?
I'm not going to say in case people just follow me on.
But will it have industries at the end?
No, because industries is either 1950s, 60s England or just America all the time.
Oh.
Isn't it?
You see,
feels American to me.
No, I only ever think of it as slightly sinister.
Oh, what? Covering up money laundering, generic industries?
Yeah, more like Bond villainy. Like, I feel like if I'd put industries after the name of a company, I would shortly afterwards be riding around in the company blimp.
Porter Industries.
Porter Industries. Yeah, Porter, like Porter Limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? Porter Industries Limited. What are they up to? Oh my God.
That's true, actually. It does
Imagine
feel
what
like
they do.
it sounds...
It's important, isn't it? It sounds important, but possibly not dodgy, not like, oh, they just don't pay enough tax, or, you know, they've possibly hired some people who shouldn't be working for them. It's, oh my God, they've got dirt on governments in other countries.
You sound more...
And an airship.
You sound more powerful. Industries immediately made your non-company sound more powerful.
Industries is just it's a thing I want to do. But anyway, so assuming I've set up Porter Industries.
Porter Industries.
There's various places I've seen where I think I could have an office. But then for some reason I want to buy a van. And I think about this quite a lot. What van would you buy? And I just think, why would you not buy a Transit?
I've thought about this and I've driven a few vans and I think they're brilliant. I think the van that I would... the favoured van, you know those stealth wealth vans which footballers are starting to buy? And I know this because a guy that used to do a lot of modified cars in the Max Power world has diversified into, besides the usual Range Rover upholstery and that kind of stuff, he does bespoke Merc Sprinters, high roof.
Oh.
And it's got glazing all on one side, but they're always black van with black glazing, so you can't tell. Yeah, I think so. I don't know why. I think it's because it's got one.
It's probably got wardrobes or something.
Yeah, I think it does. But basically the idea is you have two of these huge fold-out electric massage chairs.
Oh, okay.
It's a conference suite kind of chill-out room at the back.
Get you.
Come office.
Yeah.
And you have a chauffeur which drives an high-roof Sprinter. Yeah.
That's why I'm buying a van for my industries. Because
it's an office.
I'm going to go and just park somewhere nice in the countryside. I can park here.
You just pick a Vista and go...
Yeah. Well, that's my sort of fantasy about... Because I don't like camping.
Yeah.
I don't like camping, I don't like caravanning, don't like any of that sort of stuff. That is why we invented hotels, to avoid all of that. And yet, I have an ongoing fantasy in which I own a Volkswagen California.
Hey, well, I've owned camper vans, and I think with children it's hard and possibly less enjoyable, even though the kids love it, and that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
But my ultimate sort of fantasy is to have a large vehicle like a transporter, but it be pure EV.
If you can say pure evil.
Well, it could be pure evil.
It's pure evil for Johnny Smith Industries, because we're,
JS
Industries.
JS Industries.
If you saw JS Industries written on a little plaque on a sort of otherwise quite anonymous warehouse building, and there's just a bell with a little plaque that says JS Industries.
And there's a black door.
Yeah. What are they doing?
What's happening there?
And then I once saw a blacked out Sprinter pull up, and when the side door went back, it looked like there was a full swivel chair and a desk.
Ottoman.
An ottoman.
I'd have an ottoman.
Of course you'd have an ottoman.
You just would.
I'll tell you what though, the thing about a high roof Sprinter, I was once filming something and I was riding with the Talent and their shuttle to get them to location and back.
Yeah.
This was in the US, was a high roof Sprinter.
Yeah.
Very high roof Sprinter. Yeah. You could get up and walk around.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was luxurious.
It's a real, and you can, of course, you can have roof lights.
This had purple LED lighting. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, I don't know what it is, but when they spank up those vans and also coaches and things.
Yeah, but it's short coaches.
Short coaches.
Yeah.
They always seem to err towards the purple LED lights. It's like all the interior designs are goths or something. It's like, why purple? Other colours, some of them are lighted on purple. It's like blue's too stark, red's tarty, red's a bit brothely.
Yeah.
Purple.
Did I ever share the pictures of you that I went on a VIP bus that was owned by Hyundai, weirdly?
Yeah.
In Korea. And it took us from took us from the airport or from the hotel to the factory, to this massive Hyundai factory.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason why I'm telling you this, because I walked in and there was like curved crazy wood, there was quilted diamond stitch ceiling with I think either granite or marble inserts in the ceiling.
What, in the ceiling? Yeah. The centre of gravity would have been way.
I know.
Why does this bus keep toppling over?
I took some photos of it.
Marbles.
It was incredible, and it had a type of curtain. I forget, it had a crazy patterned curtain, and they had electric curtains for privacy.
Of course.
And and it had full wood flooring, real wood kitchen type.
Now that I like.
It was amazing. I'll dig out some pictures and show you.
Hey, on that note, something I discovered this week is this is my car nerd fact of the week. You know the Alpha Sud?
Yeah, had one.
Did you?
Yeah, I never got it to drive properly, but yeah, it was good. It was high spec.
That's standard.
I sold it for a profit. So
did you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, so you know the Alpha Sud, but do you remember? I don't think it was ever sold here. The estate version.
Oh,
the Gardenier or something like that.
Oh, Gardenier.
Gardenier.
Yeah, because they did the Fiat 500 Gardenier, didn't they?
The Carabinieri or whatever it was. But yes,
yeah,
3-door estate like an Allegro. Weirdly sort of practical, not practical solution. But
did they do a Sud?
Sud estate. I think it was only sold in
Italian market. Or
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
I bet that looks sexy as hell.
It looks good. Actually, it's a bit. The back end looks like they sort of decided not to really go to town on the styling. It's a bit plain, but anyway, it's a nice looking thing. Very Allegro proportions because it's very flat back.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up because I learned this week that from the factory, Sud Estates had wood lined, like they used to sell as a massively expensive option on the Merc
boot floor
CLS estate. Yeah, boot floor and sides, wood panelled. And I looked.
So hang on, the flat 4 engine and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And did the back end use Sud rear lights?
No, they're different
lenses?
And they're quite plain. They're sort of triangular and they're not.
That's a shame when they use plain rear lights.
Not brilliant rear lights. It's almost like they did just make it very sort of perfunctory. Just
because a lot of people reckon the Allegro estate looks more attractive than the Allegro, the normal non-hatchback, non-saloon. What is it?
Oh, it's a saloon.
I suppose it is a saloon, yeah, because it's got a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do with an Allegro estate. Because they've got a built-in spoiler in.
They have, that's true. Yeah,
the roof has a built-in spoiler.
There's a sexy bit of aero going on there that no one really ever talks about.
No one needs.
Yeah. No one needs. You don't need the downforce in an Allegro, but if you do, it's at least the hydrogas could probably
cope. It probably could cope
for it. Is this, in fact, we haven't really acknowledged this yet, but is this a new frontier of car modification for the 2020s? Is the high-end van? Is that where it's all going? Because I'm not really up on this.
What we've seen, and I think it was touched on years ago with old Theo Paphitis from Dragon's Den,
right,
where he decided to swap his office rental space for a Maybach. Because he'd done the maths on the rental, and it was a London property, so it was expensive rent for a particular office. And he went, "I've just bought a long wheelbase Maybach instead, and it's got Wi-Fi and it's got conference area, and I've got."
What about when he needs to have a meeting
or a Wii?
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about the Wii.
Yeah, just before we start the meeting, can I just go to the toilet? Yeah. If you just go down to Starbucks.
Yeah, down this corridor. I say corridor, I mean alleyway, and anywhere in there really. Just go for it.
No, it's like you've got to go to the Queen's Head pub. Now,
Yeah.
It's 11 in the morning, so nobody normally goes in there. Just go in there, you've got to buy a half of something. Just drink it super quick. Go around the back, go to the toilet, and just leave.
That's like my mate
Here's a
who
fiver.
lived in a student house. He was a medical student, and he lived with other medics in this. It was the most disgusting student house.
Really? And they're medical spec.
Yeah, it's almost like the fact, and this was in Cambridge as well. So it's like the fact they were so clever almost made them more depraved as students, and the fact they were there for the long haul as well. And it was a college-owned house that was utter filth for a number of reasons, but one of them was the first time I stayed there, I went into the loo. That's actual steaming shit on that tractor. Look at that! Wow,
That was steaming.
it's steaming.
It really is steaming.
Good
Wow.
Well, yes. So speaking of steaming shit, I went to the upstairs loo. Thankfully, I didn't need that, but so I was like, "There's no loo seat whatsoever, and there's no loo roll."
Oh.
Now that's okay if you just need a wee. But I went back downstairs and I went, "Guys, your bathroom.
What's happened?
There's no seat and there's no loo roll." Yeah, because the seat got broken. Everything in that house got broken. It was disgraceful. And well, but what about loo roll? Like, oh well, just because it's what it's like in a shared house. There are 5 of them. You can never agree whose turn it is to buy it, so we've just stopped buying it. I was like, well, what do you do if you need a shit?
Yes.
You go to the pub at the end of the street.
What? Instead of buying toilet roll?
I know.
What about if you wake up in the middle of the night?
Well, that was my argument. I went, what if the pub's shut? And they went, well, you just got to plan around it. And they would. They
They went to the effort of planning that, but not getting a bog roll and holder.
It was
Or a seat.
unbelievable.
That's nightclub. That's desperate nightclub scenario.
Let me put this into some context. Amongst other things, the reason I was staying with it, I'd gone up, they were having a house party that weekend. They were a bit worried about, this was way back, this is in the 90s. This is what dates it, is the fact that they knew people would be smoking in the house, which I think now
You probably
wouldn't
would
think about.
Yeah,
But
there'll be weed. There'll be weed.
they knew people would be smoking in the house. Not even weed, just smoking cigarettes. And they didn't want to get fag burns on the living room carpet because they thought, oh shit, we'll get into trouble for that.
What? Because the house is in such pristine
Yes,
condition,
exactly.
and they might lose their deposit.
So they rolled the living room carpet back and then put the furniture back in. An ingenious idea in a way.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, the concrete floor of the living room was covered in cigarette butts and bottle cap tops.
Yes.
And Christ knows what else, dropped food and all sorts. And then someone just rolled the carpet back over it.
No.
Yeah.
With all the fags.
Because they didn't have a brush or they couldn't be bothered.
I bet they didn't have a brush. They haven't got
So
a
they
toilet
just-
seat.
Well, exactly. It was an ill-equipped house. And you could see, because it was a very thin student house carpet, you could see these little lumps and bumps which were cigarette butts and bottle caps.
Nobody could be
And
bothered.
probably
Of
like,
course, bottle caps.
peanuts. I know.
They're not going anywhere, are they?
No. They just had
There's no
lumpy
giving
floor.
a bottle cap.
Anyway, so that was that.
Well, I don't know what.
I know,
to
it's
say.
disgraceful. But there you go, that's Theo Paphitis.
Oh yeah, that was it. You actually posed a question. That
I'm
was.
sure he wouldn't have rolled the floor mats back in his Maybach
I think.
if he'd have dropped food on the floor.
I think.
But imagine the smell
Yeah.
inside even a large car like a Maybach.
Having a breathy
after
meeting.
A day of business going on.
Well,
in there.
yeah, lots of breathy phone calls and.
Sort of slightly vinegary, musty kind of. There's just a smell of a room that people have been in all day, isn't there?
I think his chauffeur, because he would sometimes do the meetings on the mobile, on the hoof.
Yeah.
I think his chauffeur.
Just circling the M25.
He will. I think he will have had. Do you ever do this? The diagonal windows down about 1 centimetre.
Does that
to
work?
get a bit of airflow in.
Yeah, but it's going to be whistling then, isn't it? If he's on the M25 and there's not a lot of traffic, it's going to be a lot of whistling. Is that Theo? Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. Yeah, just wait a minute. Put the windows up again, Dave. Put the windows up again.
Mind you, a Maybach doesn't whistle, does it?
Oh, I think even a Maybach could whistle at speed. There's only so much they can do.
They are a big ass car.
No, big
Is it the
ass car.
62 and the 57?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what they were?
Are they worthless now?
I haven't checked recently. I remember they were available in some very, very naughty
Very
two-tone.
outre sort of Okay. there we
Middle
go.
Eastern spec
Right.
two-tone.
Go on. Let's try this. How cheap do you think the cheapest Maybach is currently? There's 9 of them on Auto Trader.
Is it really?
9.
9 Maybachs.
Let's sort this.
And it is Maybach, isn't it? It's not Maybach. Is that right? I think
yes,
it's Maybach. Or
if you're being...
Sherman.
Oh.
Are they holding their value, Rich?
Well, no, because what were they new?
Were they a couple of hundred?
I think they were,
Or beyond?
knocking.
The 62, a high 62?
No, maybe they were sort of 100. Were they maybe sort of 150-ish kickoff? I don't know. I can't remember.
I think because the
Bearing in mind
most
as
expensive
well-
S-Class was about 150.
Or maybe more than.
Do you remember? Because
170.
you could really nudge an S up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
150 with a big engine and with big luxury and longer wheelbase.
Now, also be mindful. Okay, so they're quite old now as well. They're all 2004s.
Oh, I bet
They're all 2004s. Oh, there's a 2008 one here. 2006, 2008.
I bet the infotainment is proper 16-bit Nintendo.
Well, it is. It is because here's a good bit of trivia about the Maybach. It was based on the old S-Class, the W140, the big S-Class, the blocky one of the 90s.
I like that one.
It was based on that, not the contemporary S-Class that was out when it came out. And so it was saddled with old generation electrical system, and they could never update it to the very latest systems.
But yet you were paying more for
But you were
the
paying
car.
more. So you're paying more for basically a glorified 90s S-Class.
I nearly bought a 90s S-Class when they were going through that very cheap phase. In fact,
Yes.
they might still be in that phase.
Yeah, but I think there's a sweet spot, isn't it, where they've become very cheap, but they're not conspicuously frigged.
Yes.
Now they're probably mostly frigged.
Frigged. I nearly bought a 6. I didn't want to buy a V8 one because I wouldn't be able to afford to run it every day. But
280.
yeah, I nearly bought the 6, and I was gonna build a lowrider out of them because I know they look really good when they're decked.
Okay, so the cheapest Maybach on Auto Trader at the moment is a 2005 57,
Yeah.
5.5 V12, 550 brake horsepower, very high spec.
Was that in capital letters?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course it is. How much do you think it is? 82,000 miles on the clock, sir. So you know that's not a big mileage for a 15-year-old car.
How many?
82,000 miles.
Gosh, it's difficult to know. I really can't think.
I've got to struggle with this one.
I'm going to go 60 grand.
Oh! 25 grand out.
Really?
£35,000.
Bugger me.
I mean, that's still a lot of money in a way.
It is very high spec in capital letters.
Very high spec! Stop shouting!
Yeah.
The next one is 38, and that's a left-hand drive one.
Yeah.
And that's got 100,000 miles on it. But then look down here. There's one. I mean, that's still a 9-year-old car. Over 40k of factory options! Stop shouting! 125 grand! Get out of town! You'd have to be mental to pay that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a 9-year-old, quite horrible looking car. You could have a really beautiful, brand new S-Class
Yeah.
or 7
But
Series.
people see that the little strange M bonnet emblem and think it's got to be better because it has to be. A friend of mine who works for Mercedes, was a Mercedes technician in Wales, probably told you, he ordered through his staff scheme, he ordered a Maybach bonnet trophy, whatever you call them, and put it on he had a 123
Morris
coupe.
1000.
No, he had a 123 coupe, and
Oh,
he put it on that.
really?
Yeah, for a laugh, yeah.
Why did you have to be... No, look at that. Look at the sat-nav system.
Oh my
It's absolutely old school, terrible.
Got a money spider on you, Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do they say about money spiders? Do they give you money? It's because we're talking about Maybachs,
Yeah.
which also means
Or maybe it's a
money.
business spider, because we were talking about Theo Paphitis and his mobile chamber of farts that's now worth 35 grand.
I do think though the world where I don't see the point of 9 to 5 and rush hour anymore. I don't see that most businesses need that. We have enough technology and means.
Everyone should be working at home.
We should
Well,
be able to
not
work, we should be able to
everyone, yeah.
flexibly work, and that means that the traffic at those particular times of day should be a thing of the past. Plus, people are more and more buying sheds, posh garden sheds for working. I used to have one in my previous house. I miss it. Or a van of some sort. Or I mean, you got hot desking, which is super
Yeah.
popular, which always sounds to me a bit seedy. Hot desking. Hot desking.
It's just that's never occurred to me, and now it will forevermore.
Oh, come on, because it's in those old like style personal ads where it's like hot secretary needs action.
Listen, I'm telling you, we've just alighted onto a business idea here. We should get Theo Paphitis on the phone in his Maybach.
In his
circling
35
the
grand.
his 35, circling the M25. His business is going down the crapper now because he spends most of his days on the phone trying to find someone to buy the Maybach off him.
Well, and then
No, come on, what? How much? Oh, for God, no way! I'll
got to be
pay
39.
200 grand for it. Yeah, 39. Come on. Have you done much business in it? A little bit. No. Can't shift it.
Has
You
it
can
been
never get the
breathed in
smell
a
out.
lot? Yeah.
That's what they say in all those ads. Never had business committed in it. Relatively little business. Never used for.
He's still driving around the M25 because the antiquated sat nav just can't work out where it is, and he can't be bothered to operate his Google Maps phone. He's
Yeah.
like, I just.
He needs to get to Birmingham, but the nav's not aware of the M40 really existing. So,
And it is affecting trade. There's no doubt.
but I'm telling you now, we have alighted on a business idea here because there's that. What was it? WeWork, that company
Oh, I've
that
heard
does
of
sort of basically hot desk office things, and
Yeah.
they got massively overvalued and all this sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
but it was seen as the hot new frontier of the way that people will work in future.
Yeah.
We're going to leapfrog that with van office. I haven't thought of the names. It's a bit of work, but
Van space, van.
office
Aficionado van. No.
transit office.
It doesn't work.
Work in transit.
Say it.
Work in transit.
Or work in
But
transit.
then we're kind of locked to a major contract with Ford otherwise.
Yeah, because Mercedes is going to go, we would have done a good deal with you.
Work in Sprinter. Get out of here.
Sprint to work?
Work in traffic. Don't want to do that.
Sprint for work?
Work in transporter. No, thank you. We've got a crafter. Doesn't. Sorry, no, still not good.
Crafter grafter? Oh, I don't know.
Craft work. Get VW on the phone.
She's Volkswagen and she's looking good.
When we open,
What are we calling it?
Crafter.
Grafter.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
We could have a recording studio van as well.
Yeah, because the thing is
pop
music
round
artists are always looking for inspirational spaces.
Yeah, exactly. You just go, look, hello, is that Jess Glynne?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you want to? You're feeling like you want a kind of more coastal vibe for your next record? Okay. We'll send a van round tomorrow morning, and we'll take you out to Great Yarmouth or somewhere, and you can.
Yeah, just drive it to the end of the pier in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah. We will be Britain's leading mobile workspace provider. And then, if you want to have a board meeting, we bought a whole load of 35 grand Maybachs. You can have it in there.
Oh, like a Maybach
Warning:
Uber.
none of our offices have loos.
But the vans do.
Do they? Or is it
Yeah.
just a chemilab in the side?
Yeah, no, it's a gel urinal.
Please do not shit in our mobile offices. It's number ones only. That's a very strict rule.
No, it could be really good. It could be a stool with the middle hollowed out, and you just have a
It just drops onto the road.
just have a
Or the
No, it's
beachfront
just-
at Great Yarmouth.
no. You have a
Jess Glynne shat on our promenade, screams Great Yarmouth Mayor in outrage.
darling, hold my hand. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh, what have you done?
darling, hold my hand. I want a van. I think we could use an office van. You and I,
Well, we're both self-employed.
and we live nowhere near one another.
Well, we could leave the van equidistant between our houses. Bulldog services.
Yeah, Wi-Fi hotspot. Extra leisure battery in the back. Solar panel on the roof.
Hey.
Blacked out rear end.
Back to Jess Glynne shitting in Great Yarmouth. Darling, hold my hand.